Hey, good morning. Hello. All right, we're back. So, if you took a poll of 10 people that are acquainted with you, and you asked them whether you are a pessimist or an optimist, what do you think that they would say? No, don't shout it out. I was not waiting for you to shout it out. I actually think that would be very awkward. But honestly, just think about it for a moment. Think about who you are and think about what you're like from the other side of you for a moment. Scary, yes. But ask yourself, what would people say that I am? Am I a pessimist or an optimist? You know what a pessimist is? You know, a pessimist is somebody who tends to believe that now or the past is as good as it's going to get, and then from here on, you should expect things to get worse, right? Is that what a pessimist is? Yeah. And an optimist is someone who believes, generally speaking, that their lives are going to get progressively better from here on. You should expect better things to come around, better things, more growth, more something good, right? And of course, honestly, I hadn't thought about this in a long time because the last couple of years I just assumed everybody was a pessimist, but that's actually not true. I don't think that everybody is a pessimist. And you may be wondering why I'm even asking this question. It doesn't sound like a super religious, spiritual question, but I'm telling you that it is. I'm telling you it is. Because here's what I've noticed. When Christians get pessimistic, the church does not do well. Have you noticed this? When Christians start to believe that now is better than tomorrow and is going to be better than tomorrow, if the past is as good as it gets, things go downhill very, very quickly. Right? You know, people's passion starts to fade. You know, why would you pour your heart and soul into something, in a ministry or prayer or, you know, just your time? I mean, why would you do that if you just kind of assume that, well, all the good stuff has already happened? And, you know, tomorrow we should just expect less, and tomorrow is less and less and less. I mean, why would you pour yourself into that? You know, things like prayer get very hard the more pessimistic you get. I mean, why would you spend time asking God for something if you really don't expect anything to happen? I mean, if God is all done doing stuff, what's the point? Right? You know, and so what happens in people's lives, and I don't know if you're a church person or not per se, maybe you're watching or you've just come today to check things out, but what happens in people when they become pessimistic is they go into what I call maintenance mode. That's where you look for the way to do the least that you can possibly do and just kind of get away with it, right? You know, that's when you fall into what they call just attending church. You know, you go long periods of life and you're just kind of showing up, and when it's time to do a thing, do a ministry, you're just looking for the easiest thing that you can do and still say that you did it. That's not good. And I'm not accusing anybody anywhere. I'm just saying it's not good. And I'm saying it as a person who knows because I've seen it in myself for periods of time. I've certainly seen it in other people for periods of time. I mean, it's just a natural thing. It's a human thing. You gravitate toward it. The more downward you look at the future, it just happens, right? It's natural. It's logical. Sometimes it's because of change around us, that change is freaking us out. Anybody identify with that? You've seen a lot of change? Yeah. Change is freaking you out. I don't like change. I like it, but only if I'm bringing it, right? I don't like other people's change. I hate that. And when other people do it, it makes me freak out a little bit. You know, maybe it's stuff that's happened in your life. Maybe it's loss that has led to that. You know, life has its catastrophes sometimes. And sometimes if you have a catastrophe, it's very difficult not to freak out and just kind of, you know, retreat back into your hole somewhere and just kind of, you know, hope that you can wait this thing out and eventually it'll, you know, just somehow it'll be over and go away and it'll be done, right? I'll go meet the Lord and things will be fine. I don't have to deal with this stuff, right? Sometimes it's a series of disappointments in a chain. You know, not every disappointment is like an earth-shaking, life-rattling disappointment. But if you have enough disappointments one after another, it gets harder and harder and harder to believe for the future that anything good is going to come. Is it not? Some of you have been through that, I know. If that's you this morning, I just want you to hang on with me. I'm not going to cure all your problems. Yeah, I'm not. I can't do that. I know somebody, but I'm going to share a couple of things with you that Jesus taught his disciples. A couple of disciplines. You know, we've been doing this Don't Freak Out series, and Jesus has got all these reasons why not to freak out. And he's giving them all just as he's about to give them the greatest reason to freak out that ever was, the most life-disturbing event that could possibly come into the lives of these young men who had pretty much just walked away from everything, spent 3 or so years with this guy, just given everything, put it all in on the table. He's saying, look guys, I'm going to be leaving soon. And it's really going to freak you out. You're going to be really tempted to freak out about what's about to happen. But you don't need to. Don't need to. And here's why. So we've been reading in John together as a church. Maybe you've been tuning into our little Monday tidbits about what's coming up every week. If you don't, you better go back and do it, or, you know, shame on you. But I really think it's good if you do it, but if you don't, like I said, shame on you. And I want to take you to these two things, just two things. One is way before Jesus is about to go through everything he's about to go through, and one is on the very night it's all about to take place. And I'm going to take you back in the story, in the life of Jesus' ministry, to a place in Luke 9, and it's kind of an embarrassing moment, actually. It's kind of an embarrassing moment. The disciples are kind of huddled around the campfire or whatever it is they're doing, eating some fish, I don't know. And they're having a disagreement about basically who has more cred when it comes time to hand out, you know, the important jobs in the new kingdom. Kind of goofy if you think about it. If that had been me, I would hope that part would get erased, but it wasn't. It was in there. And they're arguing about things, and in the middle of it, John steps out and calls out Jesus and says, Master, we saw a man driving out demons in your name, and we tried to stop him because he's not one of us. So they're arguing about, you know, who should get credit and who should be, you know, known as the greatest in the group. I mean, come on. It's a bunch of guys. What do you expect, right? And I know. And they're doing this. And then one of them is all freaked out because they saw somebody else getting Jesus credit, trying to do Jesus things in the community. And they're all freaking like, hey, they shouldn't be doing that because they're not in this group. They're not part of this thing. What are they doing? All freaked out about it. And this is what Jesus said. I want you to really hear this. He says, do not stop him. Don't stop him, Jesus said, for whoever is not against you is for you. What? What does that even mean? Does that make sense? Well, actually it does. You see, what he's really saying is like, guys, don't bother with it. Just leave it alone. It's irrelevant. It doesn't matter what these other guys are doing. That's not your task. That's not your mission. Just leave it alone. You know, I mean, you guys are getting fixated on what other people are doing right or wrong all around you. Of course, there's going to be people doing right or wrong all around you for all time. It's like, look, guys, don't get distracted. He says, unless somebody is actually stopping you from doing what you are supposed to be doing, don't worry about it. I'm listening to that and I'm like, I kind of want to worry about it. I do. You know, I mean, I'm supposed to be leading a church, and I'm a pastor, and this is my job, and then these, you get all these little tidbit headlines or headlines that are camouflaged as news. You know what I'm talking about. Stuff's all over the place. Editorials that are like news. You know, you get all caught up in it. The stuff's all like written to make you more pessimistic. You know, it's like pessimism that feeds on itself and keeps going, and that's what it all is, you know. And I'm like reading about other things, or I see other things that people are doing, and I'm like, that's so dumb. Why are they doing that? They've got, you know, somebody's got to stop this. Somebody's got to stop them from doing all this stuff, you know. And the honest truth is, it's really not doing anything for me and my calling. It's doing nothing. It's just distraction. And let me tell you, I'm the king of distraction. Am I not, Mrs. Smith? Try and hold it together right now. Just try. You can't do it. You can't do it because it's true. Because it's true. One time I was out golfing. Can you believe that? I was out golfing. I hate golf. I was out golfing with my father-in-law. It was a tournament thing or something. I can't remember. It doesn't even matter. When it's golf, I tend to block it out. And I was out there, and of course, I'm hitting balls, and I'm the kind of guy that should bring a bucket of balls. So I try to. And you know, to me, I mean, I am not picky. I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm like, I'm just going to lose it anyway. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is. It was a titanium alloyed cord, you know, hollow point ball. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I'm going to lose it. I'm going to lose it in 30 seconds. So I'm out there, you know, I'm hitting balls. I'm actually not doing too bad. I probably only lost like 3 or 4 of them. Some of you are like, oh, yeah, it's expensive to play golf with me. And I'm out there with my father-in-law, and my father-in-law is like Jack Nicklaus's protege, right? You know, I mean, he studied with him, spent some time, I don't know, maybe he made that up. But he's out there, of course, the ball always goes where he wants it, you know, and he's waiting for me, and I'm hitting balls out there. Of course, I'm getting real good at walking the forest, right? Like, I see some Sasquatches out there, you know, I'm like, hey, they know me. They say hi back. And I'm out there, and what am I supposed to be doing? I'm supposed to be finding my ball. Not other balls, the ball that was supposed to be for me, right? Because that's the ball you're supposed to get out, and you're supposed to bring it out the edge, and you're supposed to play it from where it went in. I mean, that's what I was told. And so I'm supposed to be in there getting the ball, and of course, everybody in the world that plays golf with me cringes when they see me going into the woods, because they know when they next see me, I'm going to be coming out with like, look at all the balls I got. You know, I've got like 50 balls in there, right? And I go in there because it's like, yeah, jackpot. You see all this? So this one's neon orange, and this one's green. I mean, these must be expensive. I like these balls, right? So, you know, after a while of being in there, my father-in-law's learned to call in there and be like, James, did you find your ball? You know, did you find it? I'm like, wait, what? Well, no, but I found all these others, you know. That's what it's like. That's what we're all like sometimes. You know, if you believe, you have a conviction that God has actually called your life forward to do something that He has for you to do, something fairly specific. It's like, yeah, I want to do that thing. You want to do that thing. If you can figure out what it is, if He'll help you, guide you and coach you to find it, you want to do that thing. Boy, it's awfully easy to look at all the other stuff going around while you're in the woods, though. Sure is. You know, and the lesson that we draw from this first discipline is that you don't leave your ball in the woods looking for everything else that you can pick up. Because it's interesting, but it's not your thing. It's not your calling. And I'm telling you, you're going to see other golfers out there that just ain't doing it right. You know, and you're going to see other people, cheating. You're going to see cheating. Have you ever seen cheating? People cheat in church, too. Did you know that? That's a real thing. You'll hear terrible articles, headlines, scandalous things. This pastor and such did this terrible thing with, the organist or whatever, we're just ran off, there was a scandal, there was a thing, there was, funds went missing, never accounted for. I mean, people are going to be doing stuff all over the place, all over the country. And you know what it has to do with you? Nothing. Very little. It's like this much. You can't let the distractions call you away from what you are personally responsible for. It's easy to let that happen. Jesus says, don't. If it's not stopping you from doing your personal calling, don't get caught up in it. Focus, guys. Focus. 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 And there's another lesson I'm going to take you to. It's important. It's in our reading for this week. We're supposed to read John 17, 1 through 26, I think it was. 17, 1 through 26. If you're trying to find out where we are, that's where we are. We're going to just keep on going right through Easter, by the way. I don't want to ruin it for you, but I do. That's what we're doing. There's a big surprise at the end. I don't know if you put that. There is. There's a big, it's good. It's real good. You're going to want to hang around for that. John 17, verse 11. This is for those of you who are all caught up in whether things will ever be good again. Will God ever move big? Will God ever use me again to do X, Y, and Z? Will things in the church ever be great? Will God show his power? Will God do something transformational in people's lives? I want you to hear this. It sounds like it doesn't have anything to do with that, but it has everything to do with that. Makes things so simple and beautiful. He says, Holy Father, he's praying for them while they're there listening. He says, Holy Father, protect them by the power of your name, the name that you gave me, so that they may be one as we are one. Just like you and I, Father, are so vitally connected, so of the same mind, so tuned together perfectly. I pray that they will be that tuned with one another. Yeah, that's what he says. And he says, my prayer, get this, is not for them alone. I pray also for those who will believe in me through their message, that all of them may be one. Father, just as you are in me and I am in you. Do you know who that is? I'll wait. It's you. It's you. He's praying then for all of the people that may come to faith from that point on. Not just for these guys that I've spent these years with training and ministry, but everybody that will come to faith through their ministry over and over and over the years. This is what he's praying for. He's praying for you. Father, just as you're in me and I am in you, that all of them may be one. Really, really united. I mean, how close are Jesus and himself? Very close, right? That's pretty close. That people would be just as united in the church. You're already getting skeptical. But don't. He says, may they be brought to complete unity, to let the world know that you sent me and have loved them even as you have loved me. This is where it all comes together, my friends. He says, may they be brought to complete unity. Why? Why? To let the world know that you sent me and have loved them even as you have loved me. Do you know what that means? It means that there is something supernaturally powerful. There is a miracle that occurs when you take a group of people of whatever different backgrounds and circumstances they came from, and you get them all working together toward the goal of glorifying God and giving the world a snapshot of what God is actually like. There's a powerful miracle in that. There's credibility given to the message. He says, if you guys are going to do this, if you're going to bring the gospel message to the world, you have to learn to do this thing. And if you question how important it is, this is not the only place he prays about it. He prays about it, and he prays about it, and he prays about it. I mean, again and again and again, that night before his arrest, this was like top shelf to him in his prayer life, that they would be one. Why? So that the world would know that you sent me and have loved them even as you have loved me. If people are going to believe that the God who created them actually does love them, and there are many reasons that people believe that he might not, but if they are going to ever believe it, the world needs to see Christians actually working together toward a common goal, staying focused, staying together. They need to see that. Jesus says in a number of places, this is how that people will know that what we're talking about is the real thing. You're actually going to love each other. Really? Like the real thing. It's not going to just be talk. It's not just going to be, theory, philosophy, good stuff. It's when people actually get to see it for real. Then that is when people really start to believe. Yeah. Here's the thing. When I talk to people about unity, if I choose to, come on, you know what happens. You just go like, okay. Right? Right? I mean, I'm honest. For some people, well, they start hearing about working together and getting over our stuff and working past differences and all that stuff for a comic. They go, okay. Some people in their spirit start to do this a little bit. Why? Because there are a million billion reasons why that cannot happen. If you set out as a church, any size church, to do something together, something that's bigger than you, and you actually have to have more than one person working together. I mean, you've had this experience. You've seen what people are like. There will be 8 million reasons why this cannot happen. I'll give you a few. Some of the people that you will run into are weird. They're weird. They got weird ideas about stuff, right? I just love talking to people who think pretty much the whole same batch of things that I think, just the way that I think them and all the different observations that I have. I love talking to people like that. You know how often that happens? Never happens. So disappointing. You talk with somebody and they're like, yeah, I'm totally in agreement. Yeah, I totally get that. Yeah. And then they'll just say some harebrained thing like, yeah, I think, we should be going to Mars to do this because Jesus wants us to go to Mars. I'm like, what? Why? I liked you. Why did you have to be like that? People have all these weird ideas. Yes, you do. Did you catch that? Yes, you do have some weird ideas. People have all these weaknesses. Some of them are like glaringly obvious to everyone except the person that has them. Don't you hate that? Come on, you should know. You should pick that up. You should have seen that in the mirror today. How did you miss that you're like this? You've been like this for 15 years. Must be you just don't want to be different. Actually, they probably don't even realize it. Some people have personalities that really are just like, grinding rings together on your fingers, like, bam, bam, bam. I don't like these kinds of personalities. God, if you could just give me the kinds of personalities in the church that I like the best, then we'll have some unity. Right? Yeah. Let's pray that prayer together right now, and we'll cap things off, right? No, because you know that's not what he's getting to. People are weird. People have weaknesses. People have weird personalities or personalities that just don't mesh with yours, and yours is the right one, so everybody ought to orbit around you. And people have, people will actually turn on you sometimes. Did you know that happens? Yeah. That's a thing too. That really hurts. That really hurts. No, not church people. Oh, yes, sometimes they will. Sometimes they will. Sometimes people just give up. You're working on a team with somebody, and somebody's in part of the team, a vital part, and all of a sudden they're just like, yep, I'm done. They just walk off. You don't know why. You want to try to figure it out, but it's too late. You can't figure it out. They're just done. Really discouraging. Really discouraging. So like I said, let's all just pray that God sends us perfect people to work with. Like give me like 100 Jesuses, all in a circle, I can work with that. But actually, that's not what you want. That's not what you want at all. Because there's no miracle there. There's no miracle. See, the miracle for people, looking from the outside in, is that they actually know all that stuff about people. Yeah, you thought maybe you're just especially wise and you figured out that people are goofy. No, everybody knows this. Everybody knows this. Everybody knows how people cut and run. Everybody knows how weird people could be. Everybody knows how people could, accidentally slap you in the face without knowing it. Everybody knows how they could be so completely unself-aware and it's just ridiculous. Everybody knows people come into groups with all kinds of squirrely stuff going on in their lives. Everybody knows that. Church people are not church people. The miracle is when you can look at a group of people who are willing and focused to find out what is most important, stay there and do that together. That's impressive. That will capture your attention, wouldn't it? You catch 100 people, couple hundred people, all more or less of the same mind about what really matters and staying focused and finding ways to do what they believe God's calling them to do, even though some of them are squirrely, some of them are weak, some of them will someday decide, I don't have what it takes or whatever. They'll bow down in fear. I don't know what they're going to do. I'm telling you, when you see people get back up and keep going after something squirrely happens, that is impressive. That's what I think. That's what I think. My guess would be that if you are a person who has some faith, even a little bit of faith, you could trace that back to a moment when you saw a group of people that had faith and they're not all the same person, and somehow they fought through, they wrestled with each other, they worked through reconciling about stuff when they had to do it, they went back and apologized, they confronted each other even if it wasn't comfortable sometimes, they did that. You can trace it back to a group of people, small, medium, big, I don't care, but somewhere in there was a group that was unified. And you saw it. Somewhere you saw it. It wasn't high in your mind. You might not even been thinking about it outright. It wasn't like, oh wow, those people are so unified. I'm impressed. It wasn't like that, probably. But somewhere in there, what was going on created the opportunity for you to actually hear what Jesus has been trying to tell you and continues to tell you. And something about that atmosphere, something about that credibility allowed you to step up to the next step and step up to the next step, and you've been growing ever since. That is the power of unity. And although it's not everything that has to take place for the church world to do good things again and to keep doing good things, those are two very important disciplines that have to be learned. Have to be. Have to be. What's the thing that you think is important? What is it? Some people have trouble trying to name a calling. Sometimes it's just not that obvious, right? I get that. You might not be in that spot where yes, I am a gifted, prayer warrior, or I got this specific label that I have, or, I'm a gifted, teacher or a ministry apprentice or something. It's hard sometimes to call something out and claim it. That's who I am. That's what I do. But I believe that most people, if they spent just a little bit of time with God, just a little bit of time praying, could actually identify something that they see in their world and point it out and say, that shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that little kids never get to hear about God before they're, 28 years old. It shouldn't be that, young people go on this far without any help or support or encouragement. It shouldn't be that, people get to be Christian adults and have no connection with anybody else of faith. They're just the Lone Ranger out there. It could be a lot of things. It could be a financial giving thing that, people should get support from the church and we should raise funds and give and be sacrificial. I mean, you could probably identify something pretty quickly, and you might not have 100% proof, and you might not get a stamp from heaven, this is the thing, this is your calling. But I'm telling you, it would be safer to assume and do something than to do nothing. It is always better to do something than to do nothing if you think God may be calling you. That's my Pastor James' opinion. I say yes, probably more than I should. I say no rarely, and sometimes it gets me in trouble, but I actually think in the end it's safer. In the end, it's safer because, if Jesus shows up like we're told he's supposed to just show up, I want to be found doing something. Look busy. Be busy doing something. Right? What is the thing? What is your thing? Do you know? I mean, maybe this morning is just a reminder you should spend some time trying to get God's help. God, show me what it is that I could do to be part of your mission here on the earth. Everybody's got a calling. He's calling everybody. What's my calling? Maybe that's where you are, but maybe you've got one. Maybe if you just spend a little time remembering, going back a little bit, you could say, you know what? I saw some real things happen when I spent my life this way and spent my life this way, and it just gave me the impression I should be doing more of this kind of thing because God does stuff with it. That's great. Maybe you're sure. Maybe you have a calling and you're like, boom, you're in it. You know what I mean? You're in it up to your knees and you're doing it every day, but you're starting to get a little bit tired. And you find yourself easily distracted. In good company. That's me. I'm distracted too. Man. My wife thinks there's something wrong with me. In a nice way. She can't hold it together this morning. What's your thing? What is your thing? Are you an inviter? Are you a people connector? Are you a kids ministry? Do you just love kids and love teaching children? Do you love youth and just look forward to being with youth and helping them see and sharing things? Are you a person that just shares your experience and you just love just sharing what you have with whoever you run into? I mean, what are you called to do? I don't know, but you can probably find out if you spend the time. And what I would do is in the midst of all of your distractions, in the midst of all of the temptations to freak out, give up, pull it home, pack it up, close the shop early, whatever it is, I'm telling you to challenge yourself and ask, is this it? I mean, is God done moving? Is God done doing things? Is he done? No. No, actually, I don't think that he is. I'm telling you, I don't think that he is. I think he has lots more planned. Lots more. But you won't get there if you give in to the hopelessness that is around you. You just won't. You'll quit. You'll stop. You'll pack it up. You will. You will. Maybe this sounds like a criticism. Maybe it is. I don't know. But, I talk to lots of people of faith all the time, and I'm hearing more and more, this stuff and this stuff and this stuff. It all points to, this is getting closer to the end. And I'm thinking, Well, of course it's closer to the end. One day went by, it's closer. Like every day that goes by is a day closer. Yeah, I get that. You know, and well, this is Revelation. Well, look, it's fine if that's where you are theologically. Honestly, I don't mind if you like to interpret Revelation and try and figure out when it's all coming to a head. But honestly, sometimes what I think is that people use that as an excuse to pack it up. Well, you know, things are so bad, God's probably not going to do stuff much longer anyway, so take a nap. What? Come on. Yeah, there's signs of the times. You know what a great sign of the times was? When the entire free world was at war with each other, dropping bombs. You remember that? The World War II? I mean, you remember that? Like, that was really bad. A lot of people died. You know what was worse? Like World War I. That was really crappy. You know, there was a time in the world in history where like every third person, or sometimes in some places 2 out of every 3 people dropped dead next to you. It's called the plague. And some of the stuff that people wrote during that time, actually, they believed this was it. I mean, think about that. If 2 out of every 3 people died, and you were the person that was left, that is what you would think. You would think, this is it. God has brought judgment on the world. It's about to end. It's over. So pack it up and go home. Oh, they were wrong. They were wrong. And some of them didn't stop. Some of them didn't quit carrying the faith. I'm glad they didn't. Because we're here. Yeah, maybe tomorrow's the end. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Get busy. Be found busy. Be found doing something. Be found doing the thing that you're called to do. And don't get lost in the weeds. It's too important. And you believe that, truly. I think that you do. If you can identify something in your community that you believe firmly God wants to do something about this, I'm telling you, it's too important to look the other way. It's too important to give up. It's too important to get so frustrated you just walk off the court. It's too important. It matters too much. Kids matter too much. Youth matter too much. Adults matter too much. Your family matters too much. It's not time to freak out. It's time to go get your ball out of the woods and play it. Play that ball. You can be like Pastor James out there in that lush, beautiful field. Hay this tall. Playing that ball. Maybe you're not very good. I mean, that could be real. You're just starting out. You're not super skilled. You don't know how to do everything. That's okay. You know how great players get better? They play and they get coaching. Free coaching, by the way. It's pretty good. Free coaching. You didn't know that. Free coaching from the best. The best. I'm going to pray for you this morning. That's all I'm going to do right now. I'm just going to pray for you this morning. I'm going to pray for not just your circumstances or something, but I'm not just praying for the direction of the church. I'm praying for you. I'm praying for your faith. I'm praying for your faith to like bubble up and rise up and start to squawk a little bit and say, you know what, you need to do something about me. You need to keep doing something about me. You can't give up just because this doesn't look good or the news is bad or somebody said something or the law turned this way against it. Like, you can't give up because of that. That's not good enough. It's not good enough. No. I'm praying for you this morning that your faith would rise up and do something in you that you got to do something about, and you got to keep it up. If you want to see something happen, good things, great things happen, you got to find some people. You got to find what's important, and you need to do that together, and you need to do it over and over and over and over and over again. That's the plan. And you might have to change it up. You might have to adjust. You can do that. You can do that. Father, I'm asking on behalf of Jesus that the thing that was so important to Jesus would become so important to us. That we could get a vision for that miracle that he was talking about and say that miracle belongs to us. That's our miracle. And claim that for ourselves and start the journey. And I pray for those who are on the journey firmly, Lord, that you would give them the energy and the refueling that they need, the encouragement that they should be getting all along the way to stay focused on what you're focused on. I pray, Lord, you would help us supernaturally, God, to not lose the ball in the woods, but to stay on your calling and just stick to it and to say, this is so important. We have to work through whatever. We've got to find somebody to do this with us. We've got to do it, and we've got to do it over, and we've got to find a way to wrestle through the tensions that will come. I pray, Lord, for the person this morning who is living in a murk of doubt. So much compassion for that person this morning. Just questioning, what could I ever do, really? What could I do? Maybe they tried something that didn't go very far, or something blew up, something fell apart. Maybe something happened to them. They're doing real well, doing a lot of good things, and then stuff just exploded around them and shocked them, and they never saw it coming. Father, I pray for that person. I pray for that person in this room, for that person watching this morning, questioning not just calling, but question whether faith is worth anything at all. I pray for that person in your name, Lord, that you would grab their attention today and show them something I can't show them. Show them something by your Spirit that only you can do. Remind them that you are there, that you have always been here, and you are still waiting, and your hand is out and extended, and you're willing to help them pick up the pieces and start walking again. I pray, Lord, for that person, for that miracle today, in Jesus' name. I pray for those who are considering faith for the first time. They're climbing up on a fence, it feels like, and just sitting there, kind of peering in, wondering, is this real? Is this for me? Is this God, a God that just loves some people, or does he actually want to know me personally, forgive me personally? I pray for that person this morning, Lord, that you would give them the gift of faith and give them the gift of credibility, not mine, but yours. Give them the unction to read your message to them and consider it for the first time for them personally. God, in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen.